Welcome to Sustainable Packaging with Cory Connors. Today's guest is a huge company in this space, and I'm so excited to have Mr. Eric Rosen, a publicist of North America for Loop and Terracycle. How are you, Eric?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Cory. I appreciate it.
Man, I'm so excited to have you guys on. I've been trying for like a year and a half. So thank you for taking some time.
Great to be here.
Yeah, man, this is awesome. So tell us about yourself. Tell us about your background. How'd you get into sustainable packaging?
So my background actually is as a PR person. I've worked in a variety of arenas, from the labor movement to healthcare to IT. But about 4 years ago, I started with Terracycle. I've always been, green and certainly environmentally friendly, and got the opportunity to go work at Terracycle, and it has been an absolute unbelievable learning experience. I had just a cursory knowledge really of sustainability, but I've been immersed in it for the past 4 years, and just what the work that we do, the work that Terracycle and Loop does, it's just been a pleasure to learn about how to better the environment.
I would be fascinated to learn more about what you guys do every day, but Terracycle is making huge impacts on the environment in a very positive way. And frankly, I'd like to see other companies emulate what you guys are doing. So can you tell us like an accomplishment or maybe a statistic about Terracycle and Loop that really kind of sticks in your brain that you could share with the audience?
As an accomplishment, I think looking at the company as a whole, I think the company's been around for 19 years. And I think in and of itself, that's an accomplishment. The idea of, Terracycle's goal and its mission is to eliminate the idea of waste. And it's been at it for 19, coming on to 2 decades. So there's an awful lot to be proud of. We do an immense amount of local and community driven engagements to push the next generation into sustainability. We do it through school recycling contests. So, on a very local level, but we're also on a world stage. And, we did something called Taking a Stand for Sustainability. We provided recycled plastic, metal podiums for the 2021 Olympics with Procter & Gamble.
That's amazing.
Very cool stuff. So, really it's kind of neat we're on a global stage, but yeah, we're very community oriented and want to bring the next generation along into this idea of eliminating the idea of waste.
Yeah. That's a huge goal and a big space that we're in here. I really enjoyed Tom Zacky's book, who's the founder of Terracycle. That was a really important book. I think we should mention that so that people listening can add to this episode with more knowledge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So very excited to announce some things about Loop. Can you kind of share with us, what's happening in the world of Loop in your partnership with Kroger?
Yeah, 100%. So I don't know how much you or your audience knows. Loop launched in 2019 and launched in the United States as an e-com site, launched in France as an e-com site. It has since gone in store in countries around the world. It's in store in Tesco in the UK, Carrefour in France, Aeon in Japan. And for the first time in the United States, we will be in store in Kroger at the end of February, starting in the Portland, Oregon area in approximately 27 Fred Meyer stores, which are a Kroger brand.
Yeah.
So we're really, really excited to see the work of the past 2 years actually land on shelves in stores. It's just going to be absolutely incredible.
So let's break it down for people. Loop is a reusable packaging system. So you buy the product from Fred Meyer, let's say after February 23rd, when it launches, you take it home, you empty the container, you use whatever it is, and you bring the packaging back and you deposit it back in the store where you bought it, the exact same place where you bought it. Is that right?
Basically, that's right. So
Okay.
Let me give a little background. In a typical scenario, you go to the store, you buy whatever product you want, But, if you're buying Pantene shampoo, you're purchasing the shampoo and the package, but you don't want the package. So you wind up using the shampoo, you throw the package away, and there's an immense amount of waste. In the loop system, the consumer only purchases what they want, which is the product that's in the package. The brand owns the package, kind of like the milkman of old.
Love it.
So yes, what you outlined is exactly right. The consumer would walk into, in this particular case, a Fred Meyer, shop in the loop aisle, purchase, for example, Pantene. They would then use that Pantene, bring the product back when it's empty. Now, the idea is to be able to buy anywhere and return anywhere. So that's what loop, and that's the ultimate goal of loop, that you could buy that Pantene at a Fred Meyer in Portland and return it to a Tesco in the UK.
Wow.
So to have the ultimate convenience for the consumer. But back to how it works. So yes, you would purchase the Pantene at Fred Meyer, you'd use it, you'd then bring it back to one of the Kroger stores. It doesn't have to be the one that you purchased it from. It goes into a bin. That bin is then taken back to Loop, all the empties, where they're cleaned, sanitized, sent back to the brand, who in this case, again, owns the package. It's refilled and sent back to the store. It goes round and round in a circular economy until the brand decides, because in this case, again, the brand owns the package, till the brand decides to pull it out of circulation, because these are real packages truly being used. They are going to get banged up, scratched, dented.
Sure.
When they get pulled out of circulation, they will go to Terracycle to be recycled. So the idea is that truly no waste.
That's amazing. So can you give us a couple more examples of the types of products that will be available in this packaging?
The idea is to have it complete. There is no product that can't be in the Loop platform. So
Awesome.
You will see Haagen-Dazs ice cream. You will see shampoo and conditioner and other beauty products. There is nothing that can't be packed in a reusable, refillable container.
So you'll be doing items like bread and crackers and things like that eventually? Hopefully?
Eventually, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that seems like kind of the holy grail, because bread packaging only needs to be good for a day or two, or 3 to 5 days, maybe, for most families, if you're like our family with a couple
Exactly.
kids and a lot of hungry mouths around. So that sounds like a great system when now the system makes a packaging that will last forever.
Yes.
But it's disposable, and it's just not working. This system is so necessary, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And it's funny because, there's a tendency to think of packaging and to kind of demonize plastic. And when we talk about packaging, plastic always does become the demon, but it's really, Loop is material agnostic. We don't particularly care what the material is, provided it's durable and reusable. Right. So there are some very durable plastics that can be used, and we do have a tendency, but to your point about the bread packaging, that's where we get into problem, is single use.
Right.
And that's single use, one time, throw away. And that's what we're trying to move away from.
And we're getting better with recycling, stuff like that, with companies like Trex and Ridwell and Recyclops. They're all making, magnificent efforts to recycle some of that material, or upcycle or downcycle, depending on who you talk to and what the material is. I get asked this a lot, and I want to ask you, because I think you're the expert. Do you think reusable packaging will fully replace all packaging eventually, or is that possible?
Do I think that? I would love to think that. Will that happen? I don't know. What I'm seeing now is that a sea change with consumer want. And people drive change with their pocketbooks. And while it would be wonderful if big business did things out of the goodness of their heart, they do things out of making smart business decisions. And I think what you're seeing is, are more and more companies having sustainability initiatives because people are pressing them to do so. So to answer your question, will we ever replace all single-use packaging with reusable packaging? I don't know. I'd love to say yes, but what we're seeing is an absolute change right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people are, with the extended producer responsibility laws coming along, and a lot of companies and brands are saying, okay, by 2025, we're going to be this sustainable, or 2030, we're going to be that sustainable, or we're going to make this goal. And I think Loop and Terracycle are making huge impacts to assist with those goals. I heard a stat the other day that 90% of those companies have already announced that they're going to fail at these goals.
Right.
So I think there's going to be a major push there. Well, I should say there is a major push right now to ramp up to those sustainability measures. And that's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I wrote down a couple stats about Terracycle that I'm just thrilled about. So you say Terracycle notes that they have over 202 million people recycling and have donated $44 million to charity. And they have almost 8 billion items recycled. I can just one word for that. Wow. You guys are making a huge impact.
Yeah, and like I said at the start, after nearly 2 decades of doing this, we've recycled a lot. We've touched a lot of people in 21 countries around the world. We recycle things that are very difficult to recycle, that others aren't recycling. That Terracycle recycles the most ubiquitous and most littered thing in the world, which is cigarette butts. So, to collect to have 8 billion items recycled, it does. Yeah, it's something we're very incredibly proud of. Incredibly proud of.
When I heard that you guys recycled cigarette butts, I thought, what? How is that? I mean, what could you possibly turn that into that would be usable?
So this is interesting. So if you think of a cigarette, the filter is predominantly plastic. The rest of the cigarette is compostable. It's tobacco and paper.
Right.
So we separate the tobacco and paper from the filter, and that filter, that plastic, can then be pelletized. And once pelletized, you can do almost anything with it. We turn it into shipping pallets.
Wow. That's awesome. Is there a specific name for those pallets, like smoked pallets or something?
No, I don't know. Not that I'm aware of.
That's
Not
funny.
that I'm aware of. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, virtually anything is recyclable. It's an economic equation as to whether it will be recycled or not. Is the cost of collecting it and recycling it more than or less than what you can get in return for it once it's recycled?
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
virtually anything is recyclable, but it becomes an economic equation.
Right. You don't want to spend the money, the electricity, the water to recycle something that the effort isn't worth it.
Exactly.
The expenditure of raw materials or resources is not worth the new product. But it sounds like what you guys are doing absolutely is.
Yep.
I'd like to talk about Burger King and Tim Hortons. You guys just launched in those 2 stores with the first ever fast food reusable packaging. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add to that, we're also have launched it with McDonald's in the UK.
I didn't see that. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So, certainly, the quick serve restaurants create an enormous amount of waste. And this is a very, it's a pretty simple fix. And so you have your burger boxes and your hot drink containers. Consumer walks up to the counter, asks for the loop packaging. The food, the drink is given to them in the loop packaging. And again, back to that kind of return anywhere. You can return it to any. Right now, it's a pilot, so any participating Burger King or any participating Tim Hortons. But just the consumer takes it, eats it, drinks it, and brings it back. We clean it, sanitize it, and it goes back to the store. So again, it's a very circular and very clean.
What is I saw the one I saw was like a clamshell plastic container for the burger or the sandwich, I should say, because
yes,
you could put chicken sandwiches in it or chicken nuggets or whatever. But what's that made out of?
Ooh, that's a great question. I have to get back to you.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I'm not sure the answer. So in this case, Loop, works directly with the brand. And this is both for the quick serve restaurants or the any other Loop packaging that's going in store. The brand develops the packaging. Loop has very specific guidelines and standards that we set, but the brand develops the pack. We then approve the pack. So I'd have to go back to see, which I'll be happy to do.
I'm excited to see them. Are they available? I think the Tim Hortons is in Canada. Where is the Burger King launching? Do you know?
Burger King is launching in New Jersey, in and around New Jersey. And again, the idea is we've been able to scale really quickly, just generally speaking.
Yeah.
So the hope is that we'll scale very quickly with this as well. I mean, it was pretty amazing when we launched in the United States in 2019. We launched in 6 mid-Atlantic states in July. By September, consumer demand had skyrocketed so quickly that we scaled to the entire 48 contiguous states.
Wow.
So, we've been able to explode at a really rapid rate. And like I said, we've only been around, since July of 2019. Yeah. And we're in multiple countries on multiple continents. So hopefully with the QSRs, we'll scale just as quickly.
What's a QSR?
Quick serve restaurant.
Oh, okay.
That's
a lingo I haven't heard. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So your McDonald's, your Tim Hortons.
They're not calling it fast food. It's quick serve.
Quick serve restaurant.
All right. I love that. Quick serve restaurant. That's much more appealing. I'd also like to talk about your school and in-home services that you provide. So a school or a person just like you or me can buy one of your corrugated recycle bins and fill it full of, packaging that wouldn't have gotten recycled, and we can send it back to you.
That's correct. It's called the Zero Waste Box.
Okay.
So Terracycle developed the Zero Waste Box program as a convenient at-home recycling solution to kind of fill in the gaps of what consumers can't recycle with their municipalities' curbside program or through Terracycle's other free recycling programs. So yes, a business, an individual can purchase a Zero Waste Box, fill it, and send it back.
That's a great program. I know a lot of schools are getting into that, and a lot of people are getting into that system. Do you also offer larger scale industrial recycling options for businesses or municipalities?
That would be the Zero Waste Box.
Okay.
That would be the Zero Waste Box. And just if I may, anybody who's interested, it would go to zerowasteboxes.terracycle.com.
And I'll put that link in the show notes so people can just click on it.
Cool.
So Terracycle.
Okay. Zerowasteboxes.terracycle.com.
Okay. I'll get that. So how do people get in touch with Terracycle or you, or to participate in programs like this?
They can
website.
The web, yes, through the website.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's the easiest way. It's very simple. We're actually revamping the website, so it'll be even simpler, but that's the best way. And it would be at terracycle.com.
Are there any future programs or anything that you're excited about that you can tell us about yet?
You know, from a personal perspective, I'm really most excited about what's happening with Loop. I on a personal level started with Loop before Loop even existed. When I started with Loop, it was an idea, and to watch it come to fruition has been phenomenal. And it's not often where you get to work and be involved in something that you truly believe may change the world. And this is super cool. I think that, you know, as I'm watching it grow and expand from country to country and continent to continent, and from an e-coms platform to an in-store platform, there's a sense that it has the potential to change the world. And on a personal level, it's just very exciting.
I totally agree. And I'm excited for what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank the people at your company for us. So please, everybody listening, take a look at that website, and I'll put it in the show notes, easy to click. And so you can go get your own zero waste box and be a part of the solution.
Absolutely. And for your audience in Portland, stop in and check out the Loop aisle in Fred Meyer's stores.
That's it. Local Oregonians, Portlanders like myself, check out Loop in Fred Meyer stores. I can't wait to buy my first Loop item. It's really exciting.
Fantastic. You'll have to keep in touch and let me know how it goes.
I will. Thank you, Landsberg Aurora, for your continued sponsorship of this podcast. If you're listening, please subscribe to the podcast and give us a review and tell your friends about it. Thank you again, Eric. I appreciate your time.
Cory, thank you. I appreciate you having me.